Ever get frustrated with tech that just doesn't seem to get you? Like
Yeah.
it's speaking your language, but not really understanding.
You're hitting on something really profound, actually.
Well, today we're diving into the work of this AI trailblazer, Terry Winograd, to kind of see why that is. He was all about bridging this gap between humans and machines.
And what's fascinating about Winograd is he didn't just build groundbreaking AI, he ended up challenging what intelligence even means in the first place.
Okay, so we're not just talking about some tech whiz coding in a basement. This gets, like, philosophical.
Absolutely. But to get there, we need to rewind a bit back to the late 60s. Picture this. Computers, mostly these clunky calculators, right? And then bam!
SHRDLU. Sounds kind of mythical, like some creature.
Haha. Yeah, in a way it was mythical for its time. SHRDLU is a program that could actually understand like re-instructions, but in a virtual world made of blocks, pyramids, all sorts of shapes. You could type in, grab the red block and put it on the green one. And SHRDLU would actually do it in that virtual space, at least.
Hold on. So not just crunching numbers, it was getting the meaning of what you were saying.
Exactly. And doing it all in plain English, no crazy code. That was revolutionary. This was a huge moment for what we call symbolic AI.
Okay, symbolic AI. Got to break that down for me.
Imagine giving a computer a mini dictionary and then a mini grammar, too. SHRDLU used all these rules about how words go together so it could take those instructions, break them down, and turn them into actions.
Wow, so like teaching a computer to get the logic of language itself, that's wild for the 60s.
It was a huge deal.
But from what I'm seeing here, this is just the start of Winograd's story.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't stop with SHRDLU's success. He actually starts having some serious doubts.
Yeah, that's where things get really interesting.
Why walk away from such a breakthrough? It's like he builds this amazing thing, right, this SHRDLU, and then just decides to, like, walk away.
It's pretty wild when you think about it, almost like he had a hunch there was something more to the story.
But why question his own success? You know, what was Winograd missing?
It gets right to the core of what his work was about. So, SHRDLU, yeah, impressive. But think about it. It could only function in this very limited world, right? Blocks, shapes, super basic stuff. Try talking to it about, I don't know, feeling of joy or like democracy, total system meltdown.
So, like, teaching a robot to play chess and it wins every time. But ask it what the game means and nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what Winograd started to realize. This light bulb moment, intelligence isn't just about logic, these symbols. It's all the messy stuff, too, like our experiences, how we actually interact with the world, things way more nuanced than what he was doing back then.
So where does he go from there?
Well, this realization kind of flips his whole trajectory. He shifts from trying to replicate human intelligence to something totally different. Human-computer interaction, HCI.
HCI. So less about building brains, more about building like bridges between us and the machines.
That's a really good way to put it. Winograd, he becomes a huge advocate for this more human-centered approach to tech. Like, instead of forcing machines to think like us, which clearly has its limits,
Yeah.
why not make machines that work with us, right? Enhance our abilities instead of trying to replace us entirely.
So instead of forcing machines to think like us, he wanted tech that actually worked with our like humanness,
Yeah.
all the quirks and stuff.
Exactly. And this is where this idea of embodied cognition comes in. It was huge for Winograd. Basically, intelligence isn't just like what's going on up here in our heads.
Right.
It's about our bodies, too, our senses, the way we move through the world. It all feeds into how we understand things, you know?
So it's like, I can read every book about riding a bike, memorize all the physics,
Sure.
but until I actually get on the bike, actually feel it, I don't really get it.
You got it. And Winograd was saying, why are we trying to build these like disembodied AI brains? Wouldn't it be more powerful if they could, learn and adapt based on actually being in the world, just like we do?
Which brings us right back to those clunky interfaces, I guess. Winograd was on to something way bigger than just making things user-friendly.
Oh, absolutely.
He wanted tech that actually synced up with how our brains already work.
Yeah. Think about something like touchscreens. It feels so natural now, right?
Totally.
That's embodied cognition right there. Instead of typing out commands, it's like you're reaching out, grabbing things on the screen, more like how we interact in the real world.
So it's less about recreating our brains, more about, I don't know, designing for how our brains already are.
Exactly. And there's a huge ethical piece to that, too, which Winograd was always stressing. Just because we can build something doesn't mean we should. And with AI getting more powerful all the time,
Right.
he wanted us to be really intentional. Ask ourselves, how can we make sure this benefits everyone? How do we make sure AI reflects our values? the best parts of us.
Not just humans versus machines, but humans and machines, kind of, working together.
Exactly. And I think that's what's so relevant about Winograd's work. Even all these years later, it's a good reminder that real progress isn't about building a smarter machine. It's about, building a smarter future for all of us.
And that is definitely something worth thinking about. So next time you're using your phone, maybe give a little nod to Terry Winograd, huh? The AI pioneer who really wanted technology to get us. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring.